Hello, beautiful souls and beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you are going through a transformation, deep inner change, or awakening, you're in the right place. Take a deep breath and let these messages meet you where you are. Remember to take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. Nothing good comes out of forcing things to fit, and you know your story best. Before I go ahead and get started, if you are new here, please know I cuss. Once I get going and these channels start flowing, I just can't be 100% sure what's going to come out. So if you stay, know that you've been warned. And if that doesn't align with you, that's perfectly fine. Feel free to leave now and find another channeler who's more in alignment with you. So without further ado, I actually feel called to really stay focused on the message today. And I am calling this one, You Are Strong Enough to Weather This Storm, Moving from Fear to Freedom. And really, the overall message is you're at a pivotal moment where major and intense energies are at play. This can show up as conflict. It can feel like victimhood. Some of you may be feeling despair right now. And deep down, some of you really know this is a feeling of transformation. And really what you're being called to do at this time is to really reclaim your power and your agency. It's time to stop feeling like a victim and fight back with courage and intention. Even if the journey feels challenging, it's leading to something better. And you're being called to really double down in that belief. I'm hearing in that knowing. It's leading to something better. They don't want you to be afraid to move forward. This message really is a call to action. And if you don't feel like this is for you, that's totally fine. You can always leave. If you find this triggering, you can leave as well. But this is one of those messages where, again, I am not being called to sugarcoat things, and we're going to have some serious talk. It just is what it is. I am the messenger. This is the message. This is what I do. So again, don't be afraid to move forward from fear to freedom. Sometimes you got to face this stuff head on and move through it. They're really emphasizing that collaboration and building a strong foundation individually and collectively is key. There's an emphasis on work together, support one another, and celebrate the progress made. Embrace the peace amid chaos. I'm hearing if you have chaos in your life at this time, this message is for you. Despite the turmoil, they want you to know moments of joy and calm are going to provide essential healing. So let's break it down. First, we've got conflict and action. Assert boundaries with wisdom. If this is resonating with you so far, they're saying you're at a moment where bold action is necessary. You cannot wait anymore. You cannot stall any longer. And I'm hearing you don't have to upend everything at once, but you are being called to take action. Action is necessary. This is a time to assert your boundaries. This can be personal, it can be societal, it can be ideological. There are external forces pressing on you, and they require a strong, firm response. But it's essential that this force is channeled wisely, not recklessly. They want you to pause and respond, not react. We're not doing that knee-jerk stuff. That's not what this is calling for. And they want to be very clear. Unchecked aggression can easily backfire. And I'm hearing there's a good chance it will. Why? Because using this action in a channeled, wisely manner is essential. Be strategic in how you protect and defend what you value, whether it's ideals, people, or systems. Your action must be purposeful, not reactive. I'm hearing we're maturing beyond reactiveness. Pause and response needs to be your new approach. I'm hearing practice makes perfect. There is an emotional tension at play between acting decisively and hesitating due to fear, uncertainty, and concerns about the consequences. All right? Some of you are really genuinely concerned how you'll be perceived by others. And that is creating that hesitancy. Some of you really don't want to rock the boat, and I'm hearing you literally are the one here meant to rock the boat. Some of you are meant to capsize the whole damn boat. If it costs you your peace to maintain the peace for other people, other situations, other systems, I'm hearing dynamics, it costs too much. It costs too much. Some of you are desperately trying to hold certain things in place, and you're the person who's supposed to bring it down. Like some of you really are, you're the only person holding dysfunctional things in place. Some of you are getting really sick of hearing no one's coming to save you. And what some of you may or may not realize is no one's coming to save you because you're the one holding the whole system up. Everyone else is getting the benefits of you holding this shit up. That's why no one's going to intercede on your behalf. Why? Because then they'd actually have to show up and do some of the work themselves. And again, this isn't to villainize those people, but I'm literally just seeing like, why? Like, why do you want to fight to keep some of these things in place? Some of you are really just being called to put things down. You're really being called to put things down. I just heard fuck what them people think. You know, some of you, that's interesting. I'm hearing some of you are in the public eye in some form, and there is concern about public perception. And they want you to be mindful of that because you know you best, right? You know your heart. If this resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. You know your soul. No one knows you better than you. Are you really going to suffer in silence to maintain a positive public perception? Is that is that sacrifice worth what it costs you? They want me to be very clear, and I can say this from personal experience as well. I don't know anyone who is called to grow in this life who does not piss people off, who does not have to walk away from people, places, and things that no longer serve them. Some of you are really trying to hold old things in place that don't align with the new version of you, and you're going to keep yourself stuck. You cannot, you're leaving no room for, you're not making any space for anything new to come in. So all you're doing is forcing your own stagnation. So some of you are just, and my heart goes out to you, right? Because this isn't something that I can really relate to, but some of you just really need to wrap your head around the fact that people are not going to like what you choose, that they don't support your decision, and that you might get some public backlash. But I'm hearing your team loves you so much, and they know that you're strong enough to deal with that and to move through that if you decide that is the path you want to take. But they said there will be sacrifice. And they are saying you are strong enough for that. I'm also hearing you will recover from that. I'm not going to lie, when you go through these changes, I find you don't lose anything that was actually meant for you. So even if you find disappointment with who is having what reaction, that's just my experience. You don't actually lose anything that is genuinely meant for you in this process. Something to ponder on. And so kind of touching on that, the next point is you really do, they're just saying you got to overcome that fear and you got to move forward with confidence, even when you feel hesitant about it. You know your truth. You know your story. And I'm hearing you know the cost of, you know what it cost for you to keep that in place. Being strong in an outward facing manner, but feeling like you're internally stuck. Like I'm just hearing that facade's not going to hold. So if you think you're going to be able to keep a strong face and make it seem like everything's held together, and this message is for everyone. This is not just for people who are public facing. They're just saying that's not going to work. I'm hearing when the music stops, the reality hits. So they're saying the inner conflict between urgency to act and fear of the unknown creates a psychological barrier that must be pushed through. This is really giving threshold energy. This is really either you're gonna act or your ass is gonna stagnate. And I'm hearing there's no in between. Some of you have, I'm hearing some of you have been giving yourselves headaches trying to think your way out of this. And that's not how it's gonna work for you. You need to act. You need to act, baby. Make a decision and understand that not making a decision is actually still a decision. What's that song? Rush, Tom Sawyer? I think it's Tom Sawyer. May not be. I'm not a huge Rush fan. They're very talented. It's just not my thing. But yeah, there's a line in one of their songs where it's like, even if you don't make a choice, you still have made a choice. Something like that. I don't know. My dad's a Rush fan. I've heard it enough to know that's a line in one of their songs. Don't quote me and don't come after me. I'm not for that. So next we have transition and uncertainty. Embrace the process of change. And they really want to acknowledge the fact that you are in the midst of a difficult transition. They want you to know, they understand, they see that, and they're here with you. And I'm also hearing that your feelings are valid with that. And they are saying that with this difficult transition comes emotional weight. They recognize that, and they're saying they understand how heavy that is. Some of you may be feeling grief. You may be feeling sorrow. You may be feeling uncertainty as you move away from the familiar. For some of you, I'm hearing it's breaking your heart a little bit because you're just realizing more and more that what is familiar is no longer comfortable. And I'm hearing it was never meant to be comfortable long term. That's why you're being encouraged to act. That comfort you once felt in the familiar is not going to return. Why? Because they're saying this is just necessary for growth. And I'm hearing for a lot of you, you already know you can't go back even if you wanted to. And I feel that I've had to make hard decisions on my journey. I've had to make decisions I really didn't want to make at the time. And there was just no getting around the fact that I had to make those decisions. And that I really just had to deal with the consequences and understand that, you know, I might be perceived as the bad guy and that people wouldn't understand, wouldn't agree. And my heart goes out to you because I really know how that feels. I know what that's like. So they want you to know that even though the future may seem unclear, healing happens through progress. I'm hearing the way out is through. Transition. Oh, some of you may be very frustrated by this right now. I get it. I get it. Transition is often not linear. It's not. You just wish it would get better and better and better and better and better, but that's not. I don't know anyone who's had that experience. If you have, kudos. Tell us your secrets because I would love to hear it, but it's often not linear, and there may be moments of backsliding. And they're saying if you do backslide, be gentle with yourself, like catch yourself, correct what you need to correct, and just know you'll get it back on track. And again, practice makes perfect. You'll get there. But there is an emphasis at this time. Your guidance is to keep moving forward. It is not to stop. It is not to go back. I'm hearing you don't want to go back that way anyway. Some of you just know you've seen too much. You know too much. Even if you wanted to put yourself back there, you just know there's no fulfillment. There's no satisfaction. And that's fair. There is a tendency to cling to the past due to the emotional residue of old ways. But that's just old residue. I'm hearing that's an illusion. It's not even true. It's just the old residue. And they want you to let that pass. And the fear of letting go creates resistance to change. It's just so natural. So if you're really finding yourself struggling with that, I really want you to do the best you can to have compassion for yourself, because it's the fear of letting go can be a difficult one to work through. But once you are able to really start moving through that, things do, in my opinion, in my experience, it does start to get easier. Again, practice makes perfect. And you can start small. Like if you're not ready to do big things, some of you just need to go through your possessions, maybe things you're not as emotionally attached to. Maybe you just have things in your house that you haven't touched in years. I'm hearing things you haven't worn in years. Someone's got shit in their closet with new tags still on it. Like you just never throw me some money. Shit. You got that kind of money. Help me out. Um, again, like start by going through possessions. Start donating that stuff. Maybe some of you want to sell some of that stuff. Start small. Practice letting go in ways that feel practical, doable. Maybe things you're genuinely ready for at this time, but do something because this really feels like you got to do something to shake your energy up type of stuff. And you'd be surprised how much energy is stored in old objects, in old clothing, and all that kind of stuff. You'd genuinely be amazed. So if you've been feeling called to purge, I'm here and honor that shit because you need to get movement in your energy. Action is necessary. And again, you gotta release these attachments to create space for new growth. Again, you can start small, but if you're listening to this message, I'm hearing that you absolutely know you got bigger shit that needs to be addressed. They're saying someone just felt very called out. I say that with love, baby. I really do. But yeah, you could start small, but if you're listening to this, you know you've got bigger shit that needs to be dealt with. So, and listen, I've gotten that download too. I have. I absolutely have. They want me to let you know that I literally walked away from an entire old life. Like everything. Not all at once, but just slowly but surely. Pretty much had to walk away from everything. So just know, like, when I say I understand, I really do. So they also want you to they want you to acknowledge, and this kind of touches on the last video if you watched the last video, but they want you to be aware, if you're not already, that you're also influenced by historical systems, societal expectations, and collective beliefs that hold you back. They really want me to go there, so I'm going to. I think it's because it came up in the last video too. Some people, again, work with me on the wording, but I'm going to stick with what is most comfortable for me to talk about. You don't have to be in the spiritual community to understand and receive what I'm saying. And switch up the wording if you feel you need to. But some people incarnate in this life and they have a beautiful, supportive family. Like some people do genuinely have that. And if they do, by all means, good for them. But there's definitely people in this collective, and I get it. Some of you thought you had a really supportive family, and I'm hearing shit's starting to look hella toxic to you. And the reason why they want me to bring that up now is because, there's a lot of emphasis on family, right? Like blood is thicker than water and all that kind of stuff, and like your family's all that you got, it's all you can count on, and da 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 da, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of pressure around here when it comes to families. And do it for the family. There's even that work family shit. What is that? There's a lot of pressure around that. And some of you are really struggling with the fact that I'm hearing some of you are really, oh, this is interesting. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me drink some water. This is getting a little scrambled. How do you want me to pull it together? All right. I'm going to keep it high level, but we are going to get a little technical. Bear with me. Families have dynamics to them. So, like, a family is actually a system. And I'm not looking at this, I'm actually looking at this more from an architecture perspective because I'm not going to lie. I see systems, I can see underlying architecture, which is cool, but at the same time I can clock fuckery. So like you can be in my face or you can be talking to me on the phone, you can be texting me and you can seem really supportive and I can pick up on your underlying bullshit. Like I can actually clock. Like sometimes I physically feel it, sometimes I can actually see like if you've got another agenda going on. And some of you are, I'm hearing you're not super aware of it, but some of you are starting to clock that shit yourselves. I just keep hearing care being masked or being used as a front for controlling behavior. So basically, like, it looked like the way things are presented is, well, I care. I just wanted to check in, you know, da da da. But like that, in that care once felt comforting, that felt safe, and that felt loving. And lately, I'm hearing intrusive. Like now it feels intrusive. Um, some of you really feel like people are really encroaching on your privacy and you're not receiving that well. And I'm hearing that's valid. That's very valid. But yeah, that's what it is. You're really just, you're picking up on the underlying mechanics of that front. You're really just, you're starting to see through the illusions. That's really what it is. You're really starting to see through the illusions. And that's jarring to you. And I get it. When I first really started picking up on that, it was jarring too. But yeah. And that's where you're trying to reconcile. You're trying to reconcile the fact that these are people that you love and you care for, but you're actually at a point where like you can't deny the fact that like you're not comfortable. Like you're seriously picking up that something's not right. And I'm hearing that you're right. I'm literally hearing you're not crazy. You're not mistaken. And that's why they want you to look at these things. Because some of you really are stepping back. Not just from family, I'm just hearing people you once really loved. But you just can't ignore the way you feel. You can't ignore. Yeah, it's just you can't unsee what you're picking up on, even if you're not physically seeing it with your eyes. Some of you are starting to understand. Some of you are starting to become more in tune with your gifts, whether you recognize that or not. You don't have to see shit to understand things. I sense in more than one way. Some things I feel somatically, meaning like, you know, it's like shit hits my field or tries to hit my body. And depending on how I receive it, I will know if that's in alignment with me or not. Sometimes my claircognizance, like sometimes I'll just read things and I will just know you are on bullshit. I have no proof whatsoever. I just know clear as day that is fuck shit. And other times I will see things in my third eye. Everyone's a little different, but whether you recognize it or not, we have been talking about in past videos how the body is waking up and the body's intuition is going to start really letting you know what's in alignment and what is not. And for some of you, that is really kicking in, and it is again, you're kind of caught between what you were taught, and what I'm hearing what you now know to be true. Take your time with that, but also respect your boundaries. Don't be letting motherfuckers out here stomping on your boundaries. I don't care who they are. I really don't. All right? Because sometimes, listen, if it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, don't. But it's not uncommon to have family that does actually want to hold you back in this lifetime. That's a lot more common than you would think, whether people clock it or not. And that's part of the reason why they want you to really examine your beliefs, because when you really start clocking this stuff and you start moving differently and you try to leave the role that you played in these systems and these dynamics, people can get real fucking loud. Why? Because again, they benefited from you being in that role. And a lot of them don't understand their motivation behind their resistance to you moving differently. But again, that's why it's really important to know your truth and stand in your truth and act. And just be ready for the fact that people may not understand in the moment. They may not understand at all. And just make peace with that. Stand in your truth. And they're saying confronting and releasing these limiting patterns will allow you to break free and embrace the new. For some of you, I'm hearing the family you consciously choose in this lifetime is going to mean more to you than your birth family, your biological family. And they want to be clear, if you really feel like you are probably in that boat, they just want you to know there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, don't force that. Let that kind of come to you in your own time. So next they want me to talk about empowerment and overcoming victimhood. Reclaim personal agency. And they're saying some of you may be feeling powerlessness right now. You may feel overwhelmed, trapped, or unable to change due to external forces. And for some of you, whether you want to admit it or not, and I'm hearing some of you definitely do not, I'm the messenger, fight someone else. They're saying this is reinforcing a sense of victimhood. It just is. They're saying true empowerment lies in recognizing that we have the power to act, even in small ways. I've been saying in the last couple of videos, you don't have to boil the ocean. You don't. You can take small, incremental steps. And you know what? I'll be honest, when it came to, my family stuff, I did small, incremental steps. I didn't do everything at once. Part of me honestly there's a part of me that wanted to see if if certain boundaries, smaller boundaries could be put in place that would allow for change. And that worked for a little bit, but do what feels comfortable. Again, that practice makes perfect, because it's easier to build off of smaller boundaries than to put, to put up a whole flipping wall and then try to backtrack that. So start small if that feels good to you and work your way back. They really want you to take responsibility for your future and choose to actively shape it. You are co-creator of your experience, whether you want to admit it or not. Some of you are wondering how you could have created something so miserable, and they're reminding you if you got yourself into it, you are more than capable of getting yourself out of it. And if you want to get out of it, they will help you, but you co-create. How do you co-create? You set your intentions and then you act. You cannot just set intentions and do nothing. There is no reward for sitting on your ass and waiting for things to come to you. It just doesn't work like that. Take even small actions. Show what you are willing to do on your end and watch the support start finding you. That is really the best way to do it. It's not just believe it in the mind, commit. All right, and they want you to actively shape it even when circumstances feel out of control. I'm hearing that's when you need to be actively shaping it the most. Most people don't awaken when their life is going great, when things are all lining up and stuff, you know? I'm not gonna lie, like my awakening, it was like I thought when I woke up that was like the bottom of the barrel. I don't know who the fuck kept showing up with a shovel, but fuck you. Like it just kept coming. So I want to be very clear, like most awakenings don't happen when like it's sunshine and butterflies and shit. You know, things are already not good. It's just what level of not good are they at when you wake up? And what else do you find along the way? You know? And that is part of it. Again, if you got yourself into it, you can get yourself out of it. And it does take practice. It does take time. But they want to be very, very clear. And we talked about this before. But limiting beliefs like things will never improve or I can't do anything just keep you stuck and prevent progress. This really is a journey of self mastery to an extent. You gotta master your mind. And I'm not saying to beat yourself up every time those thoughts come through. I'm really asking you to recognize when that's coming up and to remind yourself of where your true power lies. Because once you really realize that you are co-creator and you can adjust this, I was like fucking A, you know, and I just started running, literally. I was like, you know what? Like, I don't like this. Let me start trying some stuff, you know. I got into subliminals and other things, you know, and my subliminal makers that I listen to are not the typical ones. You know, I wasn't like money and shit. I was like, I don't know. I was drawn to subliminal makers who also look at architecture. They can see the underlying aspects of what is going on in the external. So that was my path that I went with that. But there's nothing wrong with trying to manifest money and love and all of those things. I just knew I was like, there is underlying fuck shit that needs to completely get the fuck out of my experience. And that's actually where I started. So not only did I wake up, I was like, bitch, we dive in. And I did. So, but yeah, you have to address these limiting beliefs. You have so much more support than you could ever realize. Some of you still really feel like you're doing this on your own and you're not. Some of you need the advice that I was given Because some of you actually do believe you have a team too. And if you think that, you do. If you don't, I'll let you do you. But when I first started waking up, one of the pieces of advice that I got was just start talking out loud to my team. Even though I couldn't hear them, I couldn't really receive things, and even when I did, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, thank you, but I have no idea what that is. Some of you just need to start talking out loud. Tell them what you need. You can ask if you want to, but you are co-creator. That's why I always say, like, I command, you know? Even if I'm not sure about how to handle something, command a path open to get that addressed, you know? Be mindful with what you ask for because you just might get it. And that's why I always recommend start small. But if you like subliminals and you want to shift your mindset, talk to your team. Tell them to send the right subliminal by the right maker, the right creator to address, the biggest pain point you've got going on right now. See what comes up. You'll likely find yourself naturally drawn to something. And I don't know who needs to hear it, but if you think your team can't hack your own social media algorithms, you'd be very mistaken. Very mistaken. How do you think some of you found my little corner of the internet? Your team hacked your algorithm. All right? I don't know who that's for, but your team absolutely does hack your algorithm. I don't care how good Google is. They're not above the divine. But yeah, they're saying shifting your mindset is necessary to move past these things. They will keep you stuck and prevent progress. Your team doesn't want that. If you're here still listening to this message, I feel like you don't want that either. Let them go. Letting go of old identities or belief systems can feel like losing a part of yourself. And it's scary. And I know. I had that moment too where I just had to make a decision. It's like, am I just going to stay in a life that I know doesn't actually serve me and I'm never going to be completely happy or fulfilled with for the rest of my life? Or am I just going to trust fall step off this edge and just see what the fuck happens? And to be honest, there was just a part of me that just couldn't settle. I couldn't stay. And it was so fucking scary. The next 2 years of my life, and this isn't to say this is how it's going to be for everyone, but like I basically did the next 2 years of my life more scared than I think I've ever been. But you know what? I didn't fail. I never fully collapsed. I may have been scared as all hell, but my team caught me every time. It did work out. I'm hearing some of you talk about faith. Are you going to walk in it? That's your choice. But they want you to acknowledge this fear and understand that true empowerment comes through release. I'm hearing it is the way forward. Releasing the old allows for renewal and growth. I heard there's no other way around it. So healing and rest, finding balance between action and rejuvenation. So they want to be very clear. Rest is essential. Rest is absolutely essential. There's no getting around it. There's no other way. They're saying action is necessary. They don't want you to forget that, but healing and rejuvenation are equally important to sustain your energy. And as someone who's been doing this for a while, I can't I can't upvote that anymore. Like I just all the upvotes on that. Because you will burn out if you don't do that rest. And even now, like with how much I'm releasing and integrating at this time, I literally have to rest twice as much as I take action. Like if you looked at what I did in a day, you would think I was the laziest person on earth, but just because I look fine does not mean I'm not doing some very heavy purging right now. So again, this is really about knowing what you need, honoring what you need, and not giving a shit what anyone else thinks about. They're saying rest is not a luxury. It's not a luxury. It's a vital necessity to avoid burnout and maintain your strength. A lot of you, I'm hearing, are doing more work energetically than you realize. And that's why some of you can't pinpoint why you're so tired. Because you understand what you're doing in your physical experience, you don't quite understand how much you're doing energetically. That's actually where you're really tired. The other thing is, the other thing is, for some of you, and I've said before in videos, some of you may question the methods, but this is the message, and I'm just the messenger. But for some of you, your team is making you extra tired because they're trying to make you acknowledge where you have some big energy leaks right now because they want you to address them. So if you're around people and you leave and you're drained as fuck, that's information. They want you to look at that. Be mindful of that. Hearing people who once rejuvenated you may start draining you. Yeah, I've been there. So they're saying you might feel guilty for taking breaks. And they're saying that part of this guilt is actually driven by the urgency of external demands or the fear of being perceived as weak. And I just heard punt that shit as far as you can. Yeah, the divine is literally saying that's bullshit. I heard rebuke it. Damn. But yeah, they just don't want you to. I'm hearing if you're the only one who can do it, then they can just wait until you're ready. And if they can't wait, someone else needs to pick up that weight. And if not, that shit just needs to stay right where it is. Oh, they're gonna make me say it. Okay. Give me a second. I I have a joke when it comes to my boundaries. It's not really a joke, but I find it funny. I don't think everyone's gonna love this, but I have a saying that when it comes to sorry. I may not even look at the camera when I say this, but I have a saying with my boundaries, especially when it comes to like people trying to encroach on my boundaries and it forces me to hold the line. Basically, my stance on that is I already know that my metaphorical dick is bigger than whoever is trying to stomp on my boundaries, and I am not afraid to put these nuts on someone's forehead if I feel called to. Like, that's the level of feral I will get when it comes to my boundaries, because you know what? I know my boundaries are very reasonable. I don't have crazy ass boundaries. But my boundaries, I also know, have been written in my own blood, sweat, and tears. All right? They were built from hard experiences that I am not going back to. And so that is the level of seriousness that I take my boundaries. And they said some of you need to get on that level. Now, obviously, keep your junk. If you got physical junk, keep that to yourself. But metaphorically, you can do with that as you see fit. But yeah, that is exactly how I am. So I'm a little misleading. Like, I may seem sweet. I'm happy to be joyful, maintain the peace. But if peace cannot be maintained, my shadow and we are real comfy over here. I've done a lot of shadow integration, and if I need to whip that shit out, I have no problem doing that. And you know what? I had to do that yesterday, and I slept just fine. Just fine. You will never be bigger than my program. As my good sis Mocha likes to say, you will never be bigger than my program. You will never have authority or autonomy or impose your sovereignty over mine. Get the whole fuck back. I don't know who that's for, but that is for someone. They're also saying you might also feel the pressure to keep moving forward without stopping. And I'm hearing, who does that actually serve? Not you. They really want you to stop. Shit. They want you to stop bending over and giving everyone your back while it fucking breaks. You are not put here to be a doormat. I'm hearing stop acting like one. Say what you mean what you say. And some of you need to just be ready to have some people just not like certain things. But are you going to keep self-sacrificing and self-sabotaging for other people's benefits? Like, I literally just heard that's insane. That's insane. If you don't put yourself first and you don't put your priorities first, how is anyone else going to take that seriously? That's it. They don't even want me to elaborate. That's it. Rest and rejuvenation are crucial for resilience. Crucial. There is no getting around it. I'm hearing sit down before the universe sits you down. And as someone who has had the universe sit them down for 3 days straight, baby, sit yourself down. It's a very humbling moment to be laying on your couch and having to ask your team for energy to get up just to pee. Is like, there's no award for that. You wouldn't want it even if they offered one. Get your rest. Without moments of quiet, there will be no sustained action moving forward. You will burn out. You will hit that wall. You will not be able to keep moving forward. I'm hearing some of you already know it. Someone feels like they're kissing the wall. Sit down. Embrace joy, peace, and pleasure as forms of healing. These don't need to be big bougie things. I bought myself a bouquet of roses yesterday, and like it was like $6.99, honestly, because the kid forgot to scan one of the bunches and I didn't catch that. But I bought two bunches, but for $6.99, I have beautiful bouquet of roses sitting on my table that I got to admire and smell while I ate breakfast this morning. I love it. $6.99. Probably some of the best money I've spent recently. So, whether through solitude, creativity, or connection, these moments replenish you and they allow you to move forward with energy and clarity. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot squeeze blood from a stone. Some of you are just realizing you can't hustle anymore, and I'm hearing you were never supposed to hustle in the first place. So if you're being called to slow down, they want you to pay attention to that. That's happening for a reason. And I'm not going to lie, anyone I see who's still trying to keep up with the hustle, they're not succeeding. They're not. They're tired as fuck too. like what are you actually getting from the hustle? Is the hustle for you or is that for your ego? That's for someone. Ooh, shit. All right. Next, we have collaboration and collective action, working together for shared success. And they want to be clear, unity is key. Unity is key. Success comes from collaboration, combining strengths to build something more significant than what any one person can achieve alone. It takes a village. A lot of us bought into the idea of being a self-made person. And I'm hearing even the self-made people didn't do it on their own. Everyone has helpers. Everyone has helpers to an extent. And they really want those on this growth journey to really be open to collaboration. And the reason why is because we're really moving into a time where genuinely that success, the collective prosperity, needs to come together. I actually got the download, and I know I'm not the only one who got this. The next phase of my life that is coming in will not all come through me. I actually have to, weather permitting and all that kind of shit. But I'm going to get what I need through other people. So I have to literally flow through my day. And I have to get up every day and basically be ready to walk out the door at any moment. And it's not a disruptive thing, but when I'm ready, things will come through other people. And that has come through very clearly, like what I'm going to be doing next. People will be sent in at the right time when I am ready to give me what I need in that moment, even if it's just a conversation. And that is going to tell me how to move forward. Why? Because my hyper independent ass needs to shift toward community and collaboration. I will not be, even if I have certain things I do on my own, the path to get there, the path to my success is directly tied to other people and getting the information that I need. Even though I'm capable of receiving the downloads directly myself, that's not how it's coming. That's not. And I know I will be called to help other people as well. I don't know when, I don't know how, I just know when it comes through, I'll know what to do and when to do it. And that's going to be more normal. Some of you may hit a point where you're like, damn, just the help I need starts showing up. Yeah, yeah. That's your guides. It's your ancestors. It's your team. Say thank you. All right. They're saying seek external support, whether this is from mentors, allies, or just others with expertise, right? If you know you want to move something forward, you want to do something, ask your team to send in someone to help. You know, you can command your feet to walk you to be in the right place at the right time. You can command your mouth to have the right words to say at the right time. You know, you like co-creatorship, people. You can do it, my babies. Some of you are thinking so very small and they just expand it. Expand it. Some of you really do need to play with the universe. See what happens. I'm hearing you might be pleasantly surprised, but take action. I just heard you ain't getting shit if you're not taking action. But yeah, this is about sharing knowledge, building trust, and working toward a shared goal. Our collective knowledge and skills is more valuable than any one person's. Success together is key. And they want to be fair. They're saying there may be a fear of mistrust or competition, leading to reluctance in collaborating. And they said that's normal. But they really want you to overcome these fears and recognize that together is stronger. I just straight up heard put your pride aside. They're saying building something sustainable requires shared effort. No one person can do it all. And this is where each individual's strengths are used for the collective good, being a part of something bigger than the individual. Moving forward, collaboration is going to create synergy, and it will be what drives progress forward. I'm hearing people determined to do it on their own will have success, but not necessarily the level of success they're looking for. There is a plateau you can hit. All right. So we got celebration and milestones. Honor what's been achieved. And they want me to call out the fact I did a video very early on with my channel, and I think it's called something like celebrating the small wins and self-care. So if this section speaks to you, that's a much shorter video. I think that's like maybe 20 minutes tops. But and I don't normally plug my own shit, so I feel like someone's gonna watch that anyway. But they really want to say that, you know, even in times of struggle, it's really essential to acknowledge the progress made. And I can tell you from my personal experience, you gotta fucking celebrate those small wins, especially in the early days, because there can be a lot of discomfort, especially if you recognize like you really didn't have boundaries before and all of a sudden you got to put boundaries in place. It can be a lot. And it can really be as simple as honoring your no. Think about how many times in your life you've said yes to something when you actually wanted to say no. Just say no once to something you don't actually want to do. And celebrate that. And it doesn't need to be a big celebration, you know. It really doesn't. But celebrate that. Congratulate yourself. They're saying each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. It is a victory. Celebrating these achievements helps maintain momentum and motivates further progress. Practice makes perfect. It really does. My boundaries were very hard when I first started. Now I don't even have to think about them 90% of the time. I just don't. They just become automatic. They're saying this is not the time to minimize or downplay your accomplishments, even when they seem insignificant compared to what still needs to be done. Progress is progress. Small incremental steps will still consistently move you in the direction you're trying to go. Recognizing and celebrating these milestones reinforces the positive progress being made. And some of you may do things that really feel silly, but again, it's just the practice. I've been coming out of a depletion cycle. I did close it out. Nice. But depletion cycles are really rough. And so every week, since I was told that, I'm closing that out, I actually intentionally go out and do something that I really like. And it's usually something small. It's usually food, I'm not gonna lie, because I really I like to anchor things in the body, because my body does a lot of releasing. It does a lot of work, so I like to get something that the body can also enjoy. So, what have I done so far? I took myself to a chocolate shop, like a nice one, and I got myself some chocolates. And then I went and got some French macaroons because I like those. And then I got myself a nice bottle of wine and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I do it. And I mean, honestly, it's as expensive as you make it. Um, but it does work. It really does work. And it does keep me going. But yeah, the other thing you can do is if you feel like you have people around you who genuinely support you and support your wins, celebrating together, again, that community aspect, that collective aspect. Celebrating together strengthens the sense of shared purpose and solidarity. It really does. So I'm hearing, as you find your people, make sure you're celebrating with them to the extent that you can, because I have some people who I celebrate and I can't physically celebrate with them, but we manage that from a distance, making sure they get the love and praise and all that good stuff. Because this is not always easy. This is not always small work. So it's really important to not only celebrate yours, but if other people share with you, to celebrate with them as well, wholeheartedly and genuinely. But yeah, coming together to honor collective achievements builds a sense of unity that carries everyone forward. You're really maturing when you genuinely feel like other people's wins, like you celebrate theirs just as much as you would celebrate theirs. Like once you have that synergy, you will have moments where it feels like their wins are yours too. Like you're in it together. When one person wins, you all win. So next we have endings and rebirth, allowing for cleansing of the old. They're saying you're really at a point where endings are inevitable and necessary. They do not want me to sugarcoat that. I'm hearing you already know that anyway. So letting go of what no longer serves, whether that's beliefs, relationships, or systems, is really part of the transformation. Again, I don't know anyone who goes on this growth journey and keeps everything intact. I'm not saying everything gets stripped away, but letting go is part of the transformation. I've met no one who has bypassed any of that. So while you may feel grief, they want to be clear, these endings are really creating space for renewal. Some of you really want new things, and you just cannot get new things if you have made no space for it. I'm hearing that's just not how it works, and there is no getting around that. The fear of loss or attachment to the past can make it difficult to release the old. And I know that is an understatement. I really do. And you may feel the emotional pull of staying in the comfort of what is familiar, even if it's no longer helpful. And that's no shame. We've all stayed in certain things longer than we should have. It's just part of the learning process. So honor your pace. But also, if you really know that something has come to an end, really take a look at that. I'm literally hearing, is the discomfort of keeping that in place and knowing that it is blocking something better and more aligned that is trying to replace it from coming in. Like, can you actually live with that? That theme of temporary discomfort for long-term gain is coming up again. And they want to be clear, letting go is not about abandoning what was once important, but really about creating room for what is going to help you evolve. And again, that comes down to your decision. Do you want to evolve, or do you want to hang on to these old things? Endings lead to new beginnings, and embracing this cycle is really just, it's essential for growth. I'm hearing you can't bypass that, even if you wanted to. That's why some of you really do need to take action. All right, growth through conflict. Embrace the tension for change. Tension and dissonance are often uncomfortable, but they are catalysts for growth. A lot of you are going to find it's more uncomfortable with time, because you may not feel this way now, but a lot of you are going to learn that the longer you stay and what just no longer is in alignment with you, or what no longer serves your greatest and highest good, you'll know how you want to frame it. But the longer you stay in that, the worse it's going to get. And eventually they're saying you're just going to get to a point where it becomes too uncomfortable to stay. They're saying you don't have to get to that point, but for some of you, you will. And I'm hearing that's intentional. They're saying you will experience disagreements and rebellions. And for some of you, these things are being set up, literally set up to really force you to make a decision on how to act. Yeah. For some of you, Some of you are going to recognize, hang on, let me get some water. Some of you are going to have certain things happen in your experience. And I'm literally hearing you're going to recognize it as your ticket out. And I'm hearing it's yours if you want it. Some of you have been trying to figure out how to get your ass out of certain things. And haven't quite figured it out. And your team is lining shit up. I'm hearing giving you what you need to make a decision. Some of you are going to recognize what it is. And they're saying if you recognize what it is, that can be a gift if you clock it and you use it appropriately. How much do you want me to share for that? Damn. Okay. So they want me to talk about my experience yesterday. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what level of detail, because these are real people and I respect their privacy. I know what I do and I respect my privacy. So I just was checking in to see how detailed to get. So I've shared in previous videos that I had someone who I was having some conflict with, and I tried to find middle ground with this person and realized that wasn't possible. So I was guided to just step back, be in my energy, and to not engage. And so I was doing that. And long story short, this person reached out yesterday morning and really overstepped, like brazenly overstepped. Absolutely violated. Even if you didn't have boundaries, this would have violated your boundary. And it really did feel like they were absolutely testing my gangster. And I was like, you're used to the old version of me, but this a new bitch, and you gonna find out. You gonna find out what I'm made of today. And I took the pause because obviously, shit had me lit up like a Christmas tree. I could literally feel the adrenaline surging. And I paused. I recognized, that I just needed to take some time just to kind of calm down and think about how I wanted to respond. And I'm actually really proud of what I did. And without giving away too much information, I basically just said, okay, well, how much of that verbiage you want me to relay? I basically said, it was very short, but I just said, if you ever threaten that again, I will do, X and Y. That's not a threat. That's a guarantee. I just had to be like, you cross the line. You ever do this again? I basically said, I'll cut you off. Because I know access to me is a privilege, not a right. I don't care who you are. And this person likes to control narratives. and they live with someone. So I sent that response. I took a screenshot and I sent it to the person they live with, and I just let them know I don't need you to get involved, but I need you to be aware of like what's going on between me and this person, you know? And yeah, that's really what needed to be done just to make it oh so very clear. I didn't get emotional. I didn't over explain. I just set the clearest boundary I could, kind of let them know you crossed the line. The ball is in your court. You know exactly what's going to happen if you do this again. It's your decision. And I know part of the reason why I am here is to actually force that dynamic to shatter and rebuild itself. So I actually recognized that was my gift. That is actually part of what I am here to do in this lifetime. And so from about the start of texting to the end of it, I would say in about 30 minutes, I had shattered that illusion and forced that dynamic to break to a point where it needs to rebuild without me in that old role and in a healthier manner. So some of you may not recognize it that way, but they just want me to throw that example out there because some of you will actually recognize if you've been looking for a way out of certain things. And again, listen, you know your situation best. Just because I handled it that way, I know the person I was dealing with very well. I knew what they were going to do and why I needed to do what I needed to do. I'm not saying that's going to apply for your situation. I'm not even saying that's what you should do. But I'm just saying some of you will recognize, like I knew before that event happened that at some point I was going to do it. And so when that came through, I knew I was like, this is my shot. And in 30 minutes, I had done that. That's actually part of the reason why I'm so tired today, is because there was a lot of shit tied to that dynamic that was not healthy for me. And when I broke it, a lot of that old shit had to clear out. Certain things need to integrate and new things want to anchor. So it's a lot of work. But some of you are going to realize, like, hey, I was looking for a way out of this. And for some of you, I'm hearing you getting a meatball. So take that if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. But some of these things are coming up on purpose. Even if you don't recognize that at the way out, some of you are going to have your eyes opened to the realities of certain things. And what you do with that information is going to be up to you. For some of you, you'll have that moment and realize it is the beginning of the end, and you will start making your exit plan. Alrighty, back to this. So they're saying instead of fearing these disagreements and these rebellions, you're actually really being called to embrace them. Don't shy away from the discomfort don't shy away from this conflict because of the discomfort it's going to bring. Was I entirely comfortable when that was going on yesterday? No, but I also knew it was very necessary. And like I said, I recognized that was my gift and I was like, I'm going to do it. Like I knew. I was like, it's time. Honestly, I knew it was going to be a matter of time. And when that happened, I was like, here it is. So conflict forces growth, not just for yourself, but it actually does force others to grow as well. It challenges you to rethink old structures and create new solutions. All right? I collapsed an entire dynamic. It needs to recalibrate itself under new terms and conditions. Okay? And it will create new solutions and ones that actually have the potential to be sustainable for me, because the old one did not. The old one would have sucked me dry. And some of you actually do feel like people, you have somebody, I just heard, oh my gosh, that clicked for someone. Some of you are just realizing you got some people that will just drain you to death. So, and they want you to understand disagreement doesn't mean failure. It doesn't. It can lead to breakthroughs and innovative ideas. At a minimum, for some of you, like in my case, it will force some sort of recalibration. All right. And for some of you, that recalibration is the breakthrough. They want you to lean into the discomfort, knowing it's necessary for progress and change. Some of you have shit that really does bind you, and you can't move forward with all those binds and all that heavy weight and stuff. That's not going to work. And you're not meant to move forward like that. That's why some of this stuff is coming up. Get the information, make decisions. Action is necessary. For some of you, bold action is necessary. I'm telling you, what I did yesterday, no one saw coming in that dynamic. And that actually worked in my favor. Because I'm usually the agreeable one. I'm the one who will bend over backwards. And I'm the one who will overgive. And I used to be the one who would absorb everyone's discomfort. And I was the source of people's discomfort yesterday. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I feel so much better today. And I meant it when I said I slept great last night. Tired? Yes, but feeling good. So transformation through desperation. Harness the energy for change. Some of you are feeling a little desperate, and that's okay. I've been there. I get it. Moments of desperation often precede profound transformation. Profound transformation. Feeling overwhelmed can be a signal that change is urgently needed. For some of you, that is purposely being amplified because you've been trying to ignore it. And they're like, hey, look at this. Like, some of you are feeling the heat because you're just trying to run away from something, and that's not being allowed anymore. I'm hearing for some of you, the discomfort is discomforting. Like, and there is no sympathy for that. Look at that. What is that? If you're on this growth journey, the uncomfortable truth is you got to stop running from shit. I've said it in other videos. I'll say it as often as I'm guided to. This journey requires a level of accountability that some people just will never be able to bring themselves to. That is part of the reason why you just can't bring everyone forward, because not everybody can do this. And I get it, right? I've had to face things about myself that I really didn't like. I've had to get some harsh downloads and things of that sort. You know, I've had to face aspects of me that I really would have preferred not to. I had to revisit things that happened in my life that I just really didn't want to. You cannot outrun these things. There is that moment of surrender where you just stop running. And whether you like it or not, you just take that deep breath and you just turn around and you face whatever the fuck is behind you. because that's what it requires. That's what it takes. So that desperation can lead to emotional paralysis, but it can also fuel your action. You always have a choice of how you channel your energy, especially when you have strong emotions. All right. And that's part of the reason why it's pause, then respond, right? Because I could have absolutely come out on a bag with that person yesterday. I absolutely could have. And in my opinion, it would have been justified. But I was like, you know what? This isn't about, I just realized, like there's no explaining to this person in a way that makes sense to them. So I was like, you know what? Let's just stay focused on keeping communication simple. Let's make our point and stop fucking talking. Because I just knew less was more. So I made my point. I stopped talking. And I have not heard from that person since, and that is fine with me. Some of you are going to learn quiet is very peaceful. It's a little jarring if you're used to the chaos, but at some point, some of you want your phone to be dry as hell. I don't know why that came through. Some of you are like, God, I wish my phone would just dry the fuck up. Some of you, your phone goes off, and I'm laughing because I've been here. Some of you, your phone goes off, and you just side eye the shit out of it. Like your phone, like baby, you pay for your phone. Don't let your phone be triggering you. Turn them notifications off. Start there. People stress you out and they're not required to deal with. Turn the notifications off. Stop that. That's your phone. You pay for that. But yeah, it really is a call to release the old, embrace new opportunities, and use the energy of urgency to drive forward. It's often the breaking point before a breakthrough. Pay attention to how you feel. By taking decisive action in these moments, you can catalyze lasting change and emerge stronger. That is genuinely the gift you're being offered. And it's really up to you whether you want to take it or not, because you don't have to view it as a gift. You don't have to, but that's its intention. So to wrap this up with the closing message, you are undergoing a profound transformation, one that involves external challenges, internal emotional struggles, and a complex process of growth. This is a complex journey. It is not linear. I wish it was, but it's just not. Bold action is needed, but it must be balanced. It must be balanced with rest, healing, and collaboration. Some of you need to really open yourself up to collaboration. I know the way society works and the way we've all been taught is, has leaned toward competition. That needs to be deprogrammed. Collaboration. I'm here and put your ego aside. Trust the process of change, even when it's uncertain and uncomfortable. And I've been there, babies. I've been there. And there's still plenty I am not certain of at this time, but I know at this point in my journey, my team's got me. And the more shit you shed, the more you clear that gunk out of your physical experience that reflects in your energetic fields and stuff, you may find you start making those changes, you start taking that action that you know needs to be taken, and you will just, like, the clarity will just start coming through. It'll just start coming through because it's just got less shit to try to navigate to actually get to you. but it does require work. I know people who I know people who are low key jealous of my gifts, but you have to do this work to really open this shit up. You can't just, I don't know anyone who is genuinely gifted who has not had to do some level of healing work, and they continue to do so, you know? Like you can have some level of clarity, but if you really want to tap in, you got to do that work. So I just heard facts. But endings create the space for new beginnings. And I'm hearing only endings can do that. It's time to embrace release as part of the healing. Conflict and desperation are not obstacles, they are necessary catalysts for transformation. Embrace change, growth, and unity as the driving forces behind your success. Empowerment comes from action, release, and recognizing our collective strength. Move forward with confidence. Even if you are scared, do it scared. I have done so much of this so unbelievably scared. I can't even put it into words. In that case, just fake it till you make it. Practice makes perfect. All of a sudden you just start moving. Like I have moments where I'm like, I don't know why, but I gotta go do this now. And all that kind of stuff. Like I do things that don't make sense in the moment, and sometimes I find out later on why, and other times my team's like, don't even worry about it. Like you did what you needed to do, you were spot on, just keep it moving. It's not even worth the brain power. But yeah, move forward with confidence, knowing each step, no matter how small it is or how difficult it is part of the journey toward renewal and growth. All right, babies? Please be patient and kind to yourself as you move through this process. All right? It can be a lot. Get that rest. Get that rest. You need it. You deserve it. You are worthy of it. All right. I feel like that's it. So I'm going to end it there. Take care of yourselves, beautiful souls and beings. I'll be back with more later. Until then, bye.